Okay, hello. Today I will be listening to Bocanada by Gustavo Cerati. I have gotten a few comments recommending this album, but this has also been on my personal list of things that I want to listen to for a long time. So I figured since I know at least a few people are interested, I'll just film it. Yeah, as we have established already on the channel, I don't speak Spanish, so I'm not sure how lyric focused this album is, but I do have translated ones here. So let's just get into it with the first track, which is Taboo. This whole video is up uncut and unedited on my Patreon if you're interested. Social media linked below. That percussion already.
Cerca del nuevo fin, tabú, fuego y dolor. La selva se abrió a mis pies y por ti tuve el valor de seguir. Por ti.
I already feel like I'm transcending a little bit.
Tuve el valor. En la alquimia salvaje de tus labios, oro rubí.
Whoa. This is kind of crazy. I feel like I'm just like trying to wrap my brain around this. It's like really gorgeous, but also like kind of haunting at the same time. It's very cool. That was absolutely enchanting. Very cool song to start things off with. Yeah, obviously like these lyrics are very, very passionate, like, you know, all of these things that he's willing to do for this person. And I feel like that really comes through, especially with like the vocals in the chorus. They sound so like impassioned, feels very strong emotionally. I feel like you can like feel the kind of obsession that he has with this person he's singing about. I also feel like there's something a little bit like mysterious about it. I found it very intriguing, and I'm not fully sure how to describe it, but I desperately want to hear more. I feel the same way about that song that he seems to feel about the person he's singing about. I'm very much already interested in this. Let's keep going with Engana. Okay. Oh, that's sin. Whoa. Okay. Yeah, this part is so relaxing. The pretty guitar. that change in the chorus. Very cool. Becomes so heavy. Again, it's like such a romantic song with such a dark undertone. I feel like the mood of this so far is just really interesting. Very soothing sounding song. It's definitely something very interesting happening here though. From what I'm getting from these lyrics, it's kind of like being in a relationship and kind of like living in a fantasy and not really being honest with each other. Again, like very mysterious, and maybe it is just the translation, but I feel like there's something a little bit like cryptic about it. I really like the way that it sounds kind of like unstable with the way that it suddenly switches up and everything. I feel like you're like in a peaceful dream during the verses and then like reality sets in. Very intriguing. Next song, title track.
Cuando no hay más que decirnos, habla el humo, nada el humo, y rema en espiral. Cuando no hay
Something
más
very
que
watery about
decirnos,
this. Feels like I'm like
se abren
underwater.
al aire vacíos, trayectorias sin final. Distante placer de una mirada frente a otra, esfumándose.
I feel like in a way, this kind of reminds me of my first time listening to Massive Attack, where there's something very like intense and otherworldly about it in the coolest way. It doesn't sound exactly the same, but it gives me a similar feeling. There's a whole like beeps and boots in the background. The bass in this one too.
Alargando el después, una historia sin final.
I really do enjoy this. I feel a little silly for not having heard this album until now. The waves. That song kind of made me feel like I was like underwater, but also floating in space at the same time. I mean, this seems to be about a breakup. I like how it like really does sound like looking back on a hazy memory or something. I'm very into it. I feel like I'm being like lured in by this album. I think the atmosphere of it is very cool. And this very much feels like a nighttime album. I feel like I should not be listening to this in daylight, but here we are. Spanish word Bocanada translates to puff or mouthful. Does kind of make me feel like I'm high, so I guess that checks out. Next track is Puente.
Hoy te busqué en la rima que duerme con todas las palabras. Si algo callé es porque entendí todo, menos la distancia.
Pretty. Choice song suddenly. Yeah, this one feels like a nice beach day.
Causa y ese efecto.
Sounds like the waves and the chimes at the end of the previous song. What is happening? Yeah, that rush of energy in the chorus. What the fuck? You ever hear something so good that it kind of starts to make you mad? I feel like that's kind of where I'm at right now. Yeah, the way that one progressed was so good. I was already on board with that song and then it really kicked in. I also feel like I don't know where this album is going. Yeah, I feel like that one had a bit of a different mood. It definitely felt like a bit more optimistic, a bit lighter. I should have probably said this earlier. I do know that he was in Soda Stereo, who I am aware of. I think I only know one song by. I listened to it on this channel. This is a very different vibe. Like if I didn't know that they were made by the same person, I would have never guessed. Continuing on with Rio Babel. Already got me with the strings. Okay. Okay. Funky. I like that bit. The bass. This one is very fun. I like how I said that this was a nighttime album and then it immediately proved me wrong. I'm like, actually, I want to be on the beach right now. As I look out at like 2 feet of snow. Yeah, I do love how, like, Rio, and it feels like I'm, like, floating down a river while I listen to it. I feel like I'm just, like, floating along. It's so relaxing. nice little journey of a song. Felt very peaceful. I was kind of expecting like the more intense mood of the first couple songs to carry through the rest of the album, but the last few have felt a lot more light. And it is crazy how many different kind of like sounds and genres that this album seems to pull from. I feel like because it is so kind of like soothing, it's kind of easy to lose sight of like how varied this actually kind of is. And it all comes together so nicely. Everything feels like it's like exactly in its right place. It sounds immaculate. And this is just like a really cool album so far. That's kind of the best way I can describe it, is it's just really cool. Next track is Beautiful. Oh god. This is already really gorgeous.
Fragmentos de otras historias y no hay presagios. Si nada mío habla por mi boca, entonces no hagas caso. Sé que estamos un poco enojados, pero quiero que lo sepas. Es tan beautiful como lo pensé.
Is that a flute?
I'm beautiful. Estrella de miel, tan beautiful.
And I once again feel like I'm floating in space. I think it's really interesting how this album combines the more like natural kind of instrumentation with that really ethereal feeling. I think it's very cool.
Tengo todo por no querer más nada. Y el foco se detiene.
This album is definitely up my alley. I very much love the sound of this. I really love like a 90s trip hop moment. I love Portishead, I love Massive Attack, I love Primal Scream, I love all that stuff. And I feel like this does that in its own way. So, very excited about this. His voice is really good too. I feel like I haven't mentioned that enough. Like, I feel like this is just what heaven sounds like. Yeah, that song is very well described by its title. I feel like that's kind of all there is to say. I want to live in that song. It sounds incredible. I feel like completely immersed in it. And I feel like this is kind of like cleansing my brain a little bit to like the 3 people that have ever commented about this that have pushed me to finally listen to it. I owe you. Anyways, next track.
En el mensaje me pide que te hable, pero puede que sea tarde.
This just sounds like it's from a different planet or something.
Hay diluvios, en los tuyos leo destino.
Yeah, like my brain started to focus on that like knocking sound in the back, and then I fully just got lost in it. It's like so easy to get mesmerized. I feel like I've been floating in midair this whole time. Songs so far have been great. And I feel like even like a song like that is maybe like a little more natural sounding with the acoustic guitar and everything, like it still just sounds so fucking magical. It definitely does like slightly remind me of some other stuff that came out in the 90s, but it also just feels like it's like fully from the future. Like it just feels way too nice to be of this world. It's kind of hard to imagine like how a human would even go about creating something like this, because it does pull from so many different like sounds and moods and emotions that it is kind of hard to like wrap my brain around. And somehow like it's still so relaxing. I feel like I'm melting in my chair. Let's move on to the next one. Okay. Suddenly we're in an action movie. Sure, why not? Like the strings, the horns, the desperation in the lyrics. This one is crazy. Very cinematic, obviously. Very like spy movie kind of. Yeah, I guess like much of this album feels pretty dramatic, but that one especially is so grand. I love the orchestration. Again, like the passion in his voice really sells it as well. And yeah, that one was very cool. Felt very suspenseful. Bit of a different vibe on that one. I feel like we kind of went somewhere else, but I really enjoyed it. Continuing on. Again with the like acoustic guitar paired with the more like electronic production. It's a really cool combination of things. It does sound very like haunting as well. Okay. These songs all sound so fucking good. I'm like, I don't know what to say anymore. That outro on that one. I feel like even if I didn't have the lyrics up to understand what he's saying, like all these songs just feel so deeply emotional. I feel like I'm kind of like running out of ways to say how much I like this, especially with the whole kind of like trippy psychedelic atmosphere of everything. I feel like my brain is just like turning to mush. I'm like, where are we going now? Referring to the album cover. It is a very cool cover, by the way. I'd be very interested to see like a list of his influences or like his favorite musicians, because I feel like it would be a very eclectic list. Definitely a bit more low-key. Feels like a bit of a moment for a breather. It is cool though. It is definitely just a bit more simple, a bit more consistent the whole way through. But I do like it. Okay, that was nice. I don't have a ton to say about it on its own, so I'm just gonna let it play into the next track. See, like, that even reminds me a bit more of something like Depeche Mode. It's very interesting. I'm very fascinated by this album. Like, it suddenly feels like I'm in an arena. Okay. It's nice to have something a little bit heavier after how low-key the last song was. I do love to hear that electric guitar. Like, I obviously don't know a ton about this artist, but this sounds like it could have been a hit. I feel like I could, like, show this to my dad and he would love it, you know? Feels a bit more, like, easily digestible than some of the other songs. This one's fun. Bit more of a straight up rock song on that one. And it is funny how it is probably like the most straightforward song on the album. Like, it just straight up sounds like a 90s rock song. But it does stand out in that way compared to everything else before it. Like, it still feels kind of out there for this album somehow. Yeah, it was fun. I wasn't really expecting to like suddenly be hit with something like that this far into the album. And I like how it's keeping me on my toes. Let's continue. Nice. Nice and soft. Okay. This is pretty. Feels sweet. I like it.
La mosca no razona.
guitar mixed with that kind of electronic background again. This is nice. Back to the softness on this one. Seems like the song was divided into 2 parts. So I'll just let the next one play and then I'll talk. Okay. This is cool. A bit more of a synthy continuation. I do really like how, despite how varied the sound of this album is, it all flows so smoothly. Like, I feel like it's easy to lose perspective of like how much is actually happening here. And I'm excited to listen to it all the way through without pausing between the tracks. Fun. Yeah, I like how the first part of that song kind of seemed to be about like living in the moment, like enjoying what you have. And I found like the really soothing sound of it to really match that vibe. The second part kind of just felt like a cool little bouncy outro to that. So yeah, this album does fully melt time away too. I feel like, you know, I was looking at the track list and I was like, okay, like over an hour, 15 tracks, maybe a little bit long. It does not feel like I've been here for as long as I have been. Anyways, let's continue. Alma. This sounds crazy already. Now we're really in space. This one sounds very ahead of its time, I feel like. I say this with all due respect, but I kind of feel like this was made by an alien. Always find me. Yeah, that song is not from Earth. That one was so beautiful that it was like kind of overwhelming. But I feel like I like this album just kind of takes you to a different world when you listen to it, and I think that's really cool. And I definitely think that song is like a big example of that. Let's hear the final track, Balsa. I am assuming it's an instrumental since there are no lyrics here. Okay. I feel like I'm like taking an elevator back down to Earth from space. Feels like a bit more of a low-key ending, but it's still really fascinating. It's like even in this album's most like low-key moments, it still can't help but be like really weird and intriguing. And I really love that about it. Yeah. This whole thing has been so hypnotic, and I feel like this final track really kind of sums it up. It's definitely kind of minimal, but I think I like that. I feel like I'm being like gently brought back down to earth. I was gonna say that it's like maybe not something I would go out of my way to listen to on its own, but I would love when I listen to the album as a whole. But I don't even know if that's true. I feel like I might seek this out on its own. Like obviously there's some I like more than others, but I feel like I genuinely really loved every song on this album. What is there left to say, really? That album was absolutely gorgeous. I can't wait to listen to it again. I am simultaneously kind of mad at myself for not having heard it before, but also very excited to be discovering it now. Music discovery is endless, and that's really exciting. As far as favorite tracks go, oh God, I want to say like Taboo was a great opener. Bocanada, Beautiful, Alma. Like I feel like it's kind of hard to narrow down to just a few. I did genuinely really enjoy all of these songs. Feel free to let me know what you think of this album, what your favorite tracks are. If there's anything else that you would like me to check out on the channel, let me know. Recommendations are always very helpful. I will see you next time for whatever we listen to next. Whole uncut version is on Patreon if you're interested. I will hopefully see you next time. Goodbye. Have a great rest of your day.